All right, so for those who see this after the fact, welcome back to another stream. I'll just do a bit of a random type of stream and we'll see what happens next. Figure out, again, maybe for an hour, maybe more. We will see. And yeah, no topics as of right now. Been just very busy trying to catch up with requests. I'll upload probably about 4 more before I go to bed, which won't be for a couple hours. And yeah, I never know how to start these streams, so pretty mellow opening as of now. You know, hope people out there watch this after the fact. Hope you had a good Christmas. Hope you had a safe Christmas. You know, the New Year's coming up. I'm on all that jazz. Let's see. As of late, oh, no problem, John. I know you're doing a stream with Fabio. Is it tomorrow? Definitely wish you good luck on that. And thank you. I appreciate it, John. Yeah, I like the holdovers. That was a fun movie. Like that was a well done movie. It's well written. Paul Giamatti did a great job. EM, yeah, as of right now, pretty much the water heater has been replaced. The stuff has dried up as much as it could, so things have been moved back in. Have been moved back in, I should say. Uh, Granted, Christmas sucked, but it is what it is. So, bah humbug for me. So yeah, it was a shitty Christmas. So hasn't been a good week. Hasn't been a good. Well, it is what it is. But yeah, it was a shitty Christmas. What did you do? Hey, Deary Blow. Hey, Alex. Because you wake up on Christmas and all of a sudden your fuse box is crackling. Then you gotta shut off the power, and so that you're sure that your place doesn't burn down. Then come to find out that, I mean, it's not a fuse box; it's a breaker. So one of them had to be replaced, and so far that has fixed everything. So thankfully, it wasn't a major problem. But still, when you hear crackling on your fuse box and you don't know what it is and it scares you, and that's you spend a chunk of your morning dealing with that, and then you have the jitters afterward. It's not really a fun Christmas. So I've been having the best of luck lately. This is what I'm saying, but I'm sure tomorrow I'll fall through a floor or trip on a fucking raccoon or something. With the way my luck has been lately. What the hell happened there? Oh, StreamYard just went wonky all of a sudden. I don't know why. I just being angry. StreamYard just went, nope. I'm gonna mess around with your camera. Uh, yes, I did like the soundtrack, Alex. Love Maximum Overdrive. Love the soundtrack. Demon Souls. Yeah, never played Demon Souls. I don't have a PS5. Am I ready for 2023 to go? Sure. Why not? That's cool. Metal Land. LBT. Hello there. A bah humbug on Christmas, but hope you had a good Christmas. To me, it was shit. It was shit. And with my luck, tomorrow, I don't know, I'll spontaneously combust. So, bah humbug. Hmm. What commentaries are coming up? Commentaries, I guess, like someone requested State of Grace with Sean Penn, someone requested Death Wish 3, so those commentaries are coming up. Let's see. There'll be a few more. I know I got to do season 2 of The Sopranos. Just someone requested, which is going to take a while because that's 13 episodes, so that's 13 hours. Oh, hey, Mike. Sure. Let me get some. I'll send you a link. Why not? Be 1 minute here. Yeah. Shitty Christmas, but with the way my luck is, New Year it'll probably be, I don't know, tornado will come by and just been my luck lately. Just type in the theme for Mike. Okay. Okay, that should be it. Mike, send it to Facebook. That should be the case there. Aviator, no. That doesn't seem like my kind of movie, The Aviator. Sometimes there's movies that just doesn't seem like your cup of tea. That's one of them. Peter Freak Out, hey there. How things after the whole incident? I mean, the stuff's put back in, but then Christmas, you wake up and then your fuse box is crackling, and you wonder if your fucking place going to burn down. What's going on? And thankfully, it was a small issue where you had to replace a breaker because there's not fuses on this; it's breakers. But you have to shut your power off, and then you're steered because you don't know what's going on, and you gotta can't do anything. It's a great way to wake up. It's a great way that I lose weight. Not that I know of, but I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. I shaved part of my beard. Maybe that's what that's where the weight was. The weight was all in the beard. So maybe that's what it was. But I appreciate the kind words. It's Texas. It's Texas. It's Texas. No, it's not hot now. We're in the 50s, 40s. So yeah, yeah. The weight was all the beard, I guess. Maybe exactly. But no, it's not hot here. Dolph Gold does. It's at least not right now. Not at all. But yeah, this is just sort of a chill stream. There's not really any topic or anything. It's all in the reflexes. There you go. Words to live by. It's all in the reflexes. Who jabbered me? Jab Burns says. What the hell? That movie should have been a hit. That movie should have been a box office hit. But 20th Century Fox didn't know how to market the movie. I don't know if they did, if it would have been a hit, because I think audiences at the time did not understand it. Oh, they can understand Barbie or whatever the hell these fucking movies nowadays, but I guess they couldn't understand Big Trouble in Little China. It's not like it's hard to understand. Hell, I mean, it's better. I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I think we can all agree Big Trouble in Little China is better than Guardians of the Galaxy, and they both had that fun vibe of humor and action and all sorts of stuff. So, but that can't be a hit. But some of these movies can be hits. Go figure. Yeah, I like Conan O'Brien. Yeah, I don't watch much of that type of late night TV, especially not anymore. But I did like Conan O'Brien. Oh, hey, Elf Runner. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the Guardians of the Galaxy films, but yeah, I would say Big Trouble in Little China was better. Is it Big Trouble in Little China has one of the greatest wedding crashes and stuff. Never really thought of it that way, but yeah, I guess so. I guess that would be a pick for it. I guess so. Night Swims get a lot of marketing. I haven't noticed, but I haven't really cared to pay attention. Barry Lyndon, I reviewed it. It's boring as hell. I think the review, I was asleep for half of it. Boring as hell movie. Yep, Hugh Laurie's British. Yep, yep, that is true. Sword fight between, yeah, yeah, good action sequences in Big Trouble in Little China. Hey there, Lord Cosmo. Hey there, Fallen. How's it going? Just chilling, relaxing, seeing what happens next. I sent link to Mike as he asked about it, but I don't know what happened. Maybe he got the luck I got. Says it was a shitty Christmas around here. Yeah, I mean, Morikawa got some inspiration from Big Trouble, especially the Lord Raiden. When's the top 10? There's no top 10 list. I don't really care to make one. Unless someone wants to send as a request, but I'm too busy with other stuff. I have so many videos I need to catch up on because of all this BS that happened with the water heater and then Christmas with the fuse box and crackling and not wanting the place to burn down and having to replace that and all that shit. So I have so much stuff I need to catch up on. It's not even funny. But hey there,
Hey,
how's it going?
doing all right. Heard about sorry for,
Cool.
I look all red. I don't know. It's just the camera apparently wants to make me look like you know, I'm a tomato. Um
No problem.
um I don't know how to fix that really. Maybe turn off the white balance. Maybe that make it less look like tomato. Yeah, is what it is. That's just one of the things with
But
this face cam pro, like you gotta have like the lighting has to be like really, really good in order to get this shit to look right. But
right,
I like it though.
cool. So you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I'm not gonna say like it was the greatest thing ever. And it looks like my camera, sorry, like it just looks like there's like some kind of slowdown thing happening on my end. Um
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that. I mean, it's not too bad. I
okay.
saw a teeny bit of it, but I mean,
Okay.
so far is not too bad.
Okay. It's this camera uses up a lot of like
Oh, now yeah, it's doing a little bit. Yeah,
okay. Um is what it is. I don't know why it's having so
yeah.
many problems. It like when we did the thing before, like it worked fine. So I don't know why it's decided to
The
be
StreamYard,
a
StreamYard
fucking
does a
dick.
lot. It's I like it. It's this is kind of fun.
The Sophie
It's
Jimmy Cammy. Okay.
uh yeah. I mean, mine was shitty, but it
Yeah, I
is
heard
what it
about
is.
that. I heard about, you had some issues with your fuse box, and you had the water heater. It's just like just everything
Well,
on
yeah, it
top of
was the
it.
fuse box was crackling, like the
Jesus
damn thing was
Christ.
going to place was going to burn down. And
That's
thankfully, is what
scary.
it was. We don't have fuses. We have these boxes called breakers,
Uh-huh.
uh, and sometimes those wear down after years, so they just have to be replaced. But
Yeah.
that's what it was from. So thankfully, it was that. But
Okay.
it
Yeah,
is
that's
what it
good.
is. But hey
That's
there,
good.
Arcade and Bobby and everybody in the chat. Derek, hello everyone. For everyone in the chat, how about you guys mention what you got for Christmas? Uh, I want to just interact with the chat a bit, but
Yeah.
and no, I haven't seen Hoodlum Arcade. Just answering his question, I haven't seen it, but
I think I have that in VHS somewhere.
cool. And hey there, Eric. Yeah, I mean, it's not much to talk about in terms of movie news. Now, at least that I know of. I haven't really paid attention to it. I've just been busy with all
Yeah.
sorts of other stuff.
I know
Uh,
Rampage, the William Friedkin film, that's coming out on in
uh,
4K sometime in
that's true.
February. I think it's
Yeah.
February. Could be wrong about the release date though, because I know Leviathan's coming out sometime. I know what was causing it, folks. It was my shutter speed. I fixed it, so as you
Ah,
can see. I'm not used to working with shutter speed and all ISO and all this other stuff. So um
well, thank you, Dolph Gold
what
Dust.
happened to that monster? The
He was
the
oh
the hairy
he was in the he was in the back of Kurt Russell's truck
yeah, he was the back of
at
Jack
the end.
Burton's truck, the Pork Chop Express. Yeah.
And then they did a comic book sequel where he kind of became kind of, I guess, like Jack Burton's pet or something, something like that. I
So
believe there's a comic book,
I got
but
I got
yeah, that's what happened to it.
a lot of the stuff that I got for Christmas, to answer that question, uh, I'm gonna show in a upcoming holiday hysteria episode of Physical Media Madness. Um, because I actually am
And
going back to a shop tomorrow, pick up some stuff I put on hold, and maybe see if there's anything new that I didn't see last week because my grandmother sent she gifted me a check for
cool.
Christmas. So that'll be like the last of the Christmas stuff. I did pre-orders. I went to like three different shops. This is normally what I do during the holidays, and I got a pretty decent haul. And one of them was actually Daryl on Blu-ray. I finally got it, but it's the one that I had in my Amazon wish list for years, and it was pretty cheap. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get that. I'll get the Fabulous Films release. Screw Vinegar Syndrome's like $50 4K. I don't. It's Daryl. I don't want to spend that much on Daryl.
Yeah.
um, and I got a few other things, but
Well,
these are
great.
the ones I got in the mail recently. Finally,
Okay.
I haven't even opened it
Cool.
yet. I just got it from Amazon. This is the 4K of the Monster Squad. I'm super psyched about that. And then this is the
Cool.
MVD order. It actually came with the slipcovers, surprisingly. So you got One Dark Knight, Split
Mm,
Second. This is actually I have the 101 Films release too that has some other features that are not on this, but it's region
mm.
locked. So that was just kind of a pain in the ass. So I it was cheap, so I wanted the and then this is Swamp Thing. I think it's pretty cool. What they did is they made it look like a CED. You notice that? It looks like an old CED, like a capacitance electronic disc,
Okay.
because you got the plastic thing on the bottom. I think what they're trying to
Hmm.
do is they were trying to be like a laser disc, but with the plastic tab on the bottom, that's not a laser disc. That's a CED. So if they're trying to make it like laser vision, they kind of fucked up because that's not what a fucking laser disc looks like.
Yeah, or it's for those 5 people that remember what a CED is.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah,
And real
and
quick, like to answer, uh, no, I have not. No one has requested Godzilla -1. I haven't seen it,
I've heard it's really
and
good.
yeah, Kentucky Kente says that was a nice drama, as in the one who gave you the gifts.
Yeah. Well, she just gave me $50 that I haven't spent yet, but yeah,
It's still annoying.
she's she's amazing. She means the world to me because she raised me along with my mom, so she's basically a second mom to me. Um,
Cool.
but
And hi there, Declan and Brett, and everyone in the chat. Hello there. Just saying hi back to some people. But go ahead.
speaking of gifts, I know I sent you one. I know. Did
Yeah,
it
that was nice of you.
did it work and everything was fine? Because I know sometimes Amazon you can get stuff that's kind of
Yeah, it did work. I haven't had a chance to watch the whole thing, but it
okay,
did work.
cool.
So because I
It was
tested
in
out
good
the.
shape.
So thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's a nice bonus with all the other BS going on. So it was a
Yeah.
nice reprieve of that. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
It was the Blu-ray of Suspect Zero.
Mhm.
If people were asking, it's right over there. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. And all I got, Mike, was bullshit. That's all I got. I gave him
You're like,
thin air.
"This is." Oh, thin
Just
air? Oh, I
thin
thought you were
air. Here
saying I
you
was
go.
talking about thinner. Thinner.
Or thinner, whatever. There's my cursor, thinner. Is that
Um,
Fabulous Films released at Darrow Region Lot?
actually, no. I thought it was gonna be region locked, but, I put it in my Oppo, which it doesn't have a region, free mod in it, and it played fine. So, it's not region locked at all. So, if you're a fan of the
Cool.
film, it doesn't have features, but the transfer's pretty good, at least I think. I think so anyway. I do think it's better than the DVD.
Mm. Okay. Uh, so that's not the Verger syndrome. That's another release. What made you
Yeah,
get
it's a
that
fat
then? It was
because
cheaper.
it was cheaper and it was like what 12 or 14 or something. Like it wasn't that
Oh, okay.
expensive compared to 50
Yeah, I don't know.
something. I mean,
I don't know if you. I don't know if you need a lot of diehard features on Daryl. So maybe that's for the better.
I know, right?
But yeah, like you mentioned, William Friedkin's Rampage is getting a Blu-ray. I mean, guess 4K, right?
Yeah,
4K.
I think it's gonna also have a Blu-ray with it because that's normally how Kino actually does give you a 4K and a Blu-ray usually, unlike
And
some
then
of these
Leah
other
Leviathan,
companies.
and Leviathan is February 20th, which is cool.
Yeah. Gotta remind myself to sell my Blu-ray copy to the record shop before February. Look at the eBay prices and still give me a good deal.
I'll keep mine just in case.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
in case, like, they probably won't, but you never know when they
yeah.
release a film and then the
Well,
transfer is
I
like
think
fucked up.
yeah, possibly, but Kino normally doesn't isn't Kino's usually pretty damn reliable. The only instance I remember reading about and honestly seeing with Kino with the transfer this kind of was Silence of the Lambs for like the first 20 30 minutes, but that's because of the quality of the print that they were given by MGM. It wasn't even
Mm.
necessarily their fault. Everything else, I can't say. I think they've been doing some really good work. I've been hearing nothing but good things about Monster Squad, but I haven't put it in yet. I'm glad still got the slipcover because I'm starting to get worried. You know that like if you wait, you're not gonna get the slip, and then you gotta pay fucking scalper prices and shit. S Speaking of, I'm gonna
I'm one of
grab this
those.
one. You don't
Yeah, go ahead.
care? I'm gonna, you can
Yeah,
just talk about that. I'm
I'm
gonna grab something real quick.
yeah. Yeah, as I was saying, I don't give a shit about slipcover. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I just care if the movie's in there and it works and it doesn't look like shit. I don't the slipcover. I'm not going to put it around my dick. I'm not going to jerk off with it. I'm not going to come on the slipcover. So, so I don't give a fuck.
That's where some people do, they jerk off with slipcovers, like, it's like it sexually
Probably that
arouses them or
fucking
some shit.
that VHS group. That's what they're on their off days when they're not
But
worried about penis pancakes.
yeah,
They're having
yeah.
slipcover condoms. So,
Um,
that'll be the next condom. It'll be a condom that looks like a slipcover of a
no,
DVD or Blu-ray.
they're getting all hot and bothered about the existent slipcover because it feels like flesh.
You know, long live the
Um,
new flesh, I guess.
yeah, exactly. But I wanted to show this one because this is awesome. Best Buy, they're done. They're done with physical media. They're gonna be done next year, like early next
The,
year. This is
the Debbie Does
this
Dallas.
this wasn't exclusive, and I couldn't even order it to ship online. I could only order it from local shops and pickup. And I'm glad that I did because
Mhm.
honestly, this is probably one of my favorite steel books that I own right now. This is the Young Guns exclusive Best Buy steelbook release. I really like the slipcover and I love this art. I think this art is really cool. I think they
Hmm.
really outdid themselves here. This has got this really nice looking painting, and then it opens up like this. And then you got the disc, and it has a Blu-ray copy as well. And then you also get like these playing card things, which I'm kind of like, well, whatever with those. But it was like affordable too. It was like 25 or something or whatever. Yeah, I'm glad I got it because now if you want to get it now and it's not available at your Best Buy, scalpers are probably charging double already. Wish it was the best dollar 80 I ever spent, but it wasn't a dollar 80. Um,
No, that'll be the sequel.
yeah, that'll be.
That'll be the
I might
dollar.
be fine with just the DVD for the sequel, to be honest.
I'll be fine with nothing for the sequel. So yeah,
I do
I
like
don't want that movie.
I like some lines of dialogue from that movie and a few bits, but yeah, that sequel's disappointing.
Yeah, the sequel sucks in my opinion. Like there's some good performances, but
I like
shit
the song
story,
Blaze
shit
of
ending.
Glory. I like the song Blaze of Glory.
So do I.
Um, I like the best dollar 80 I ever spent, or you'll be hanged. You'll go to hell. You can go to hell, hell, hell. Like I don't mind that bit, but yeah, it's
Just like the franchise went to hell on that. They still lost pretty much everybody.
yeah, it's killing
It's
everyone.
great. Did you know that the Indiana Jones 4K, the effect shots were digitally altered and changed on the first three movies?
Didn't
First time
notice
I've heard
it.
of that.
Didn't notice it, and honestly, whatever changes they made, were fine because I watched all four in 4K recently, and that's the
Hmm,
best all of them have ever looked. So, and
hmm.
I saw all three. I've seen all of them in the theater, including the first three in 35 millimeter, and I couldn't even really tell any major differences. I think the only altered shots I think I remember seeing were shots that were altered anyway for the DVD and Blu-ray, which is in Raiders when he's in the Well of Souls and the
Hmm.
Cobra comes up in the earlier prints, like in the
Yeah, the
original release,
reflection
you see the reflection on the
of Harrison
glass.
Ford. Yeah.
but in the digital version or in the other versions on DVD, they removed that. So I don't know
Hmm,
what they altered because it wasn't very obvious, and
oh, cool.
it wasn't like a they didn't do some AI bullshit like with True Lies. Now with True Lies, I did see something on the forum later that kind of gives me an inkling of some semblance of hope, but not much because what people were sharing screenshots of was like the Amazon stream or something, and somebody else
Hmm.
shared screenshots from a stream from I think iTunes or some other source that was a little bit higher in terms of the bit rate. And the screenshots they were showing from some of these scenes didn't look as bad. So I don't know. I still don't know. I think it's going to be inconsistent, and that's just going to be distracting as hell. So it might not be as bad, but it's still going to be inconsistent because that's what happens when you give an AI an entire film to work with. So,
Yep. Well, there you go.
but if you're in
So
the
I ain't
UK,
buying
you're not even getting The Abyss, which sucks. Did you hear about this, Matt? Like the UK is not even
it. Yeah,
getting
the
the
rat scene.
4K
The
of
rat.
The Abyss.
Yeah, because of the scene with the mouse that is in the breathing
Uh,
liquid. Some about it's inhumane to animals or something, even though the animal wasn't harmed.
yeah,
Really fucking stupid.
it is. It's fucking dumb.
But hey there, LBT. To the other person, nope, never seen that movie. Purgatory, nope, sorry.
Is
And
that a
yes, Scream
Western?
7 should be canceled.
If it's a Western, I've seen that once or twice. It was a TV
Mm,
movie on TNT. It's okay.
okay.
My stepmom really likes it. 'Cause she's
Cool.
a Christian, and so it's got some Christian, got some religious undertones and stuff like
Mm,
that. Because it's all about these Western, outlaws that are stuck in purgatory,
right.
like Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp and so on and so forth. Sam Shepard is in it, I think.
Mm. And yes, I think Street 7 should be canceled. I'm
Oh,
so, I
yeah.
mean,
What a fucking
the
disaster.
director quit.
It hasn't even started filming yet, and it's already a disaster.
Oh, that's nice.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it's bad. Just stop. Quit while you're ahead. Because at this point, with the two leads leaving, like, what are you gonna do anyway? What are you gonna make it focus on the other members of this new core four?
Like who?
What are you gonna? I know exactly. It's like what Mindy
Well,
and
no,
her
they want to bring Nev Campbell, and Patrick Dempsey back with a truckload of money.
on.
Who knows? I mean, if it's big enough money, they'll probably do it. Thank you, Psycho Hobo. Telescope the other day crossed Saturn with its three moons. Rings are so huge, very gorgeous.
Oh,
Pretty good telescope you got there, man.
that's why Saturn 3 is called Saturn 3. Now that I know about it, now I know that. Like I didn't know it had three moons. Well, you don't see any of the 3 moons of Saturn in that movie. Instead, you see a moon you don't wanna see, trust me. Definitely not with a telescope, which is Kirk Douglas's
Yeah, moon.
wrinkly
Yeah,
bare ass.
yeah, the full moon. But yeah, this must be a pretty good telescope you got there to see
Nice.
all the way up to that. Wonder how much that costs. That telescope. What
Oh,
kind? I mean, can't just be your typical telescope. That's pretty cool, man. And thank you, man. Yeah, I hope they cancel Stream 7 as well, but they probably are desperate for because the movies have made money, so they think as long as they release something with that title, they'll make some money.
mhm. It's like
It
all
may
these
not be
sequels
a
coming
good.
out next year. There's like 10 or 12 sequels that are already announced to be coming out next year.
And yeah, General, we both like the Monster Squad. It's a good movie.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorites. Like I and it's funny, like I remember talking about the Monster Squad and how I wanted it to get a release from Kino or Arrow, and here we are. And I was like, when Kino announced that, I was like, yes, because it was a neat one. Because all of Films' release was bare bones and nothing. The original Lionsgate release was really cool for the time, but it was one of those discs that had issues with being rotted. So you could have a disc that played fine, but then like years later you would try to play it again and you'd be like, "Wait, what? Why is this glitching everywhere?" And then you'd be like, "Oh, cuz it's got disc rot, which that's not good."
Mm, no, it's not.
Especially for the
No,
fact that those were out of print. So I guarantee there were some people who bought supposedly in good shape Lionsgate Blu-rays of the Monster Squad, and then got them, and then they were disc rotted, and then they were like, "Hey, where's my refund?" And then the person would be like, "Fuck you," and they would just be shit out of luck.
so how did that Blu-ray get disc rot that quickly? I mean, wouldn't Blu-ray it would take a lot longer, or they just
No,
manufactured poorly?
it's a manufacturing issue. So what happened
Mm.
is because there was more than one Lionsgate release from around that time that's been starting to have issues. And so there were some that are fine, but because of the fact that, there was just not high quality manufacturing, I think disc rot really has to do with the material that's used to make the disc. And I think a lot of it has to do with like the way the layers are put together. And so a lot of the time if you use like this cheaper ingredient for I think it might be the glue. There's some kind of glue process that's going on with the discs, and if they use, like, really cheap, low grade, quality, it tends to lead to disc rot. Um, and speaking of cheap, low grade quality, I bought a DVD set, Matt, of Once Upon a Time in China, the trilogy with Jet Li. It was, like, 50 cents at a thrift store. That
Mm.
set has the worst picture quality I've seen in years. It is garbage. It is completely fucking unwatchable to anyone who's watching
Well,
it.
it's 50 cents, so
I
you
know,
get what you pay for.
even if it's 50 cents, just don't even fucking buy it. It is so bad. Like, it looks like they took a VHS and put it in widescreen and put it on a disc. It's fucking trash. It's grainy. It's got all kinds of artifacting. It is awful. I think it would have been shit even on a CRT TV back in the back in the 90s. It's that bad. But when you see it on a 4K TV, like its flaws become magnified. But yeah, I'm definitely not
So I
gonna watch
mentioned.
that. I'm not gonna watch that trilogy on that because like it's unwatchable. Like I'd be like, I can't properly rate any of these movies because I can't fucking barely see what the fuck is going on because of all the fucking grain.
So someone was mentioned that apparently there was a Laserdisc company that was notorious for
Sony,
manufacturing and building.
Sony,
Mm.
Columbia, a lot of Columbia, so a lot
Okay.
of releases from Sony in like the mid to late 90s. So like Willow, for instance, is a notoriously well-known disc rot offender, and there was a bunch of other ones that Sony, Men in Black, um, and I think I remember reading Warner Brothers was a problem with DVD. There was a lot of Warner Brothers DVDs from a certain time period, I think from like the late 90s as well, that were pretty well known for suffering from disc rot. And for those of you who are wondering what the signs are, like your disc starts to look cloudy. That's like the number one like warning
Mm.
sign. It starts to look cloudy. and sometimes the color changes too.
Mm.
And if it's a cloudiness, like you can't like take it, you can't wipe it off. It's just there on the disc. That's that's
Cool.
that's a rotted
Well,
disc.
not cool, but
Yeah, no, it's not.
okay.
It's kind of interesting, you know, in terms of like how does this happen? Like it's some kind of chemical reaction, I think, or whatever from, you know, the ingredients and over time degrading.
And real quick, like General, you saw Saltburn. I told you it was bad. I warned you,
It's
but
called
if
Saltburn.
you want, I reviewed it recently. It's from the director of Promising Young Woman.
Oh, great. That movie.
Really, it's a guy that you find out at the end. Spoilers. He has got himself into this rich family and pretty much outwits them, knocks them off one by one. Where it's like lifestyles of the rich and shameless. It's just a bunch of rich people being annoying, and your lead antagonist being a weirdo nerd creepo that likes to lip bathtub water because a guy
What?
jerked off in it, and he celebrates by getting naked at the end and dancing, dick and all,
What the
around this
fuck?
mansion he's now inherited. So
Jesus Christ. I
he's a
bet
guy that,
I bet there's
yeah,
a lot of subtext that's associated with a lot of the stuff that's happening apparently. And I don't give a fuck to be honest, even if there is.
no, I didn't give a flying fuck. It was boring as shit.
Sounds like it.
So
But it's from the director of Promising Young Woman, so you know the movie that is basically kind of trying to perpetuate this just awful message that, you know, if you're a lying, like vindictive bitch, pretty much, you're a hero.
and thank you, Dark Metal Spider. Yeah, Elves was thanks to Mike, and thank you for that request. And that was an awful movie,
That was a great
awful
rant,
film.
honestly.
And did Dan Haggerty live or die? Still
I
don't
have
know.
no
Just
idea. Do not know. Um, yeah, I
I
remember
know we
seeing
haven't
that,
seen the
and
Marvel
I was just absolutely flabbergasted by how bad that was and incompetent it was too.
Elves. Yeah,
I think I did a VHS 365 thing on it years ago because I remember having clips in a review, and then of course I had to delete it because of
okay.
copyright and all that other shit. But
Mm. Must have
yeah, it's
missed that one. The only one I remember is the Steve James movie
yeah,
that you did. But
yeah, Riverbend,
yeah,
and then I did one on the Maddening as well with Burt Reynolds. Remember that one is because I did a
okay.
reference to The Dark Knight Rises because there's a scene with a well in it. Um, but yeah, Elves is so bad. I think that might have been a trash cinema. That might have been what it was. I do remember reviewing Elves and doing like footage because I remember editing the footage. But then I think I had to like delete it because of copyright, which you know it is what it is. But yeah, that film fucking sucks. And it's a poster child for AIP because it's an oh, guess what? Oh, it's an Action
Incompetent
International picture?
production.
Oh, it's an incompetent production? Okay, no wonder this fucking sucks because it's an incompetent production.
But hi there, YK. Thank you, Fallen. And then
But yeah, some of the
was
stuff in that
Generals.
movie, like I agree. I could see why some people, you know, they get drunk with their friends, you know, and it's just one of those like they don't know much about it and they just put it on and they're just, you know, to like riff on. But
Yeah, it's a killer elf that looks like a mongoloid from fucking The Date.
yeah, he does. Yeah.
And he's made by the Nazis to breed a master race. Because that happens every day.
Then you have the whole bit with the little
And
brother, you know, talking about his sister's tits. And you're just like, "What the
Who tell you want to see
hell?"
your tits? I'm like, I don't think you want to tell people that you saw your sister naked, kid. I think they don't want to be making fun of you more than anything,
Exactly,
like a pervert.
exactly.
Hi there, Caleb.
What
Uh,
Ninja Turtle was he just wearing, like, a generic Turtles, pajamas, or was he, like, wearing a specific
yeah,
Okay.
I, it seemed like just kind of the from the bottom down, like it's the kid's head, but it's just the
Yeah,
rest of the pajama body.
yeah.
So,
It'd be funny if it was Raph.
th-
He's wearing Raph pajamas.
yeah, just to piss me off. Yeah. Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate it, man. No, I don't. I don't smell anything of that.
Mm,
Why would it smell like fresh vinyl if you unbox a toy?
yeah.
I
I
don't
know.
know. I don't smell anything. I don't smell my DVDs. I don't smell. You know, I probably smell my food. That's probably
Yeah.
the only thing I smell.
I think I've only inadvertently
Or
s like, some stuff I've gotten used, like, from, like, a pawn
maybe
shop
I
or a
fart,
few other
but not on purpose.
places. I've, like, inadvertently, at times, maybe
Sure.
smelled the case. But only really a lot of it just has to do with, like, if it comes from, like, a smoker's home or something, and then you're like, what the hell is this smell?" And they're like, "Oh, it's this fucking case." Like, there actually are a couple times where I literally replaced a case because it was bad, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't want this stinking up my entire room, so this can go in the trash."
Thank you, Caleb. That's kind of you, man. Nice going good so far. Hanging with my good friend here. Legend.
I like it.
I'm very 50-50 on it. I
Yeah,
think it's a very good looking movie. Tim Curry, his design is fantastic.
yeah, by Rob Bottin.
Wonderful
Yeah.
makeup. Rob Bottin, who disappeared to the Bermuda Triangle, wherever he went. Uh, I don't. There's not a whole lot of action.
No.
There's not a whole lot that really happens. I don't know if I really buy into the love story because it's just they don't really have enough time, and then it's just like there's not much of an emotional
Mhm.
core. It's like the visual and music is what sells the movie, but for me, I didn't really find a whole lot underneath in
It's
terms of the
it's very
emotions.
it's very much style over substance, Legend. Like, it
Yeah,
really is.
yeah, in my opinion.
Well,
In
I
my
agree with
opinion.
that. I like the movie. It's actually one of my favorite '80s fantasy films,
I
but, like, mainly just for the
mean, I don't hate
style.
the film, but
It's not like I'm not
yeah,
gonna rank it above Conan or even something like Sword and the Sorcerer for me. But,
no,
I do put it, somewhere in my top 10 of '80s fantasy films. Like, I do like Excalibur more.
mm,
I do like that film more than Legend as well. Um,
Willow.
Willow for sure. Willow's my favorite. So, yeah, it's good. And a lot of the reasons why it's good is Tim Curry and Ridley Scott's direction and the atmosphere, the mood, and the set design, and just the
It's
style of
also
it.
it's also weird when the strip obviously had some issues because there are characters that completely disappear,
Yeah.
like
Well, he the
the creatures work with the villain,
Mhm.
and they just completely disappear.
Yeah.
They you never see them come back,
Yeah.
and you're
Well,
wondering where the hell did they go?
Legend is also a film that had a significant setback during the production. There was a fire at the studio that they were shooting
Yeah,
a lot of the film at somewhere in Pinewood, I think. And it was really bad. Like, it burned down like a large majority of the sets that they were shooting on. So I think that led
yeah.
to a lot of scenes that they couldn't shoot, couldn't film within the time crunch. So I think that's what led to a lot of stuff that was cut out. And so I don't think we'll ever see the full version of Legend that I think that we were intended to see. Even the director's cut, even that extended is still not because that they just could not shoot certain scenes. And it was too far into production to do significant rewrites. So
Yeah.
this is one of those things where you just kind of have to deal with what you have. I personally prefer the theatrical cut over the extended version or whatever it's called. For one, I think it's got better pacing, and two, I think as much as I like
Better
Jerry
music.
Goldsmith, I love him as a
Yeah.
composer. I prefer Tangerine Dream's score for the theatrical cut a lot more.
Yeah. Is do they both have the song "Is Your Love Strong
I
Enough"?
don't know if they do. I haven't seen the extended cut in forever. But that's another thing about the film I really like, the song by Brian Ferry.
Yeah, I do like that song. Is your love strong enough? I forgot it was from that movie when I rewatched it
Yeah,
because I had heard that song a lot, but I'm like, oh shit, it's from this movie. I
yeah.
forgot.
Like a rock
But no,
in the sea.
no, have not seen Rebel Moon. Want to be Star Wars? Have not
I
seen it.
I've heard that it's also wannabe Battle Beyond the Stars. It's not like, wow, you're ripping off Roger
Okay.
Corman ripoffs of they're ripping off the ripoff? Man, you are really really going to the bottom of the barrel there.
And hey there, Michael. Nope, have not seen Paper Moon. I've heard of it, but haven't seen it.
I think I saw it years ago on TV. I know it's got young Tatum O'Neal. I think she won an Oscar for it, acting alongside
Mm.
her father. Um, I have it on DVD somewhere, but no, I haven't seen it in ages, so I can't really say much about it.
And folks, though, I don't care because a few people have asked. I don't care about the new Alien film, Romulus. I have no interest. The last good Alien film I've seen was in 1986, and that came out when I was 3 years old.
And you didn't even see the
So,
actual version of the movie that came out in theaters.
right.
Because for those of you who don't
But
know,
go ahead.
with Aliens, like you're never actually going to see the original theatrical version unless you find a 35 millimeter print because James Cameron messed around with the print of that film all the way back to when it came out on DVD.
Pretty much. Yeah, there are articles where people were pissed at him for how he was working on the laser disc, and people were just losing their minds trying to work with the
He
guy.
was being a total laser dick.
The true laser dicks.
Yeah.
Exactly. Uh, yes, I do think it's been a terrible year for movies. I'm not saying there's been no movies. There are movies I've liked. I mentioned them before.
Yeah,
Hey there, Review Games at Night. The
it's been
Holdovers was a
rough.
good one. That's a good
Cool.
one. I recommend
Okay.
that. Paul
All right.
Giamatti is in the vein of Dead Poet Society or Good Will Hunting.
Okay. All right.
It's from the same guy who directed. Yes, Paul Giamatti did a good job. He's a
Okay.
guy who's a professor who's got to watch over this kid during a holiday break.
Mhm.
And like I said, that's a good one. Uh, so I liked that one. I liked Renfield. I
Yeah.
liked, uh, except Aquafina. I don't like the water, and I don't like
Uh-huh.
her. Fuck Aquafina. But I liked Renfield.
I know you didn't mind Sisu and
Yeah, I didn't mind it. Stretching 2, I liked.
Across the Spider-Verse, which that would be
Yep,
on
I
my
did like
best
that
list as
one.
well.
Although I have issues. I don't think it's as good as the first, but I liked
I
it.
don't
I
either.
think the I said this in a review, but I get that it's a cliff. I don't like that it's a cliffhanger ending. I don't
Mhm.
like when they do that because then
Yeah.
it's not really a strong, satisfying ending
No.
because it's leading up. So it's kind of like it just ends.
Like there's a way you could do that without a cliffhanger ending. I've seen it done before. Like it works fine if you're going in it's an episodic like series on television or streaming where
Yeah.
oh it's a cliffhanger until the next episode. Or if it's just like it's just a cartoon or something. Like that's fine, but as a movie, like yeah, when you end a movie on a cliffhanger, it's kind of off. Um But then again, Back to the Future did it, but Back to the Future, the way that it did it, I think worked better. Like it was just like, oh, to be continued. And with 2 and 3, they came out like right after one another. So you didn't even have to wait that
Well,
long
also,
for, the third one to come out.
and also, like there was an actual finale where you got the chase with Biff, and then
Yes.
met, you had the confrontation in the alternate 1985, and
Yes.
then
Yeah.
the car chase with the 50s Biff, and like it
Yeah.
felt like there was a culmination of that
Yeah.
bit of the story.
Yeah.
Plus, they gave you a trailer to the third film. They gave you a
Yes.
taste as well.
Yes. 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 And even
So
the end of the first one, like things still like wrap up fine, even though there's that little bit where, oh, we don't where we're going, we don't need roads. Like, yeah, it's a setup for a sequel,
yeah.
but that's more of like a sequel bait thing. That's not really a cliffhanger.
Hmm. And yes, yep, folks, I did not mind Thanksgiving and did not mind the Pope's Exorcist. That's true. So
Still
I
need
didn't
to
hate
see
everything. It's
those.
just,
There's a handful of ones I still need to check out. I'm gonna try to do that. I mean, I have more free time now, so because I don't work two jobs anymore. So
and you did get the
uh,
request, right? My
yes, I did. I
request.
got it. Thank you. I'm gonna get to
Cool.
that as soon as I can too. I just have this backlog from
Understood.
November. I'm
I
trying
understand.
to get done. Um,
No problem.
One of those reviews is Scarface, by the way, and that was great. That was really good. I get
Oh
why
yeah.
people really like that one. Apparently, my cat is freaking out right now. I don't know. Maybe he got some of Tony Montana's cocaine.
No, there's some Cody Santana cocaine on. There's some Cody Santana in here with your jamokes over here. See, I don't have anything. You see, a little thing in the past, there was a little guy here named Cody Santana coming at you with some reviews and shit, talking to you motherfuckers. And
Oh,
maybe I'll talk for about a minute like Cody Santana. Like,
fucking
for example, I
cockroach.
don't give a fuck of shit. No bullshit about 65. If it was 69, I would give a shit. I don't care about Adam Diver. They did some cockroaches or dinos.
It's
They're not
fucking
doing shit.
cockroach.
Because all I heard is boy in his sheet from the Fox of the Adam Divers. Oh, I've heard nobody liked the 65. Should have been called 69 with a bullet. Maybe people would have seen it. And Gremlins 3 2025, fuck that. Don't need
Did
it.
you see 65? Or did somebody request that recently or
No,
something? Yeah, it's not
no.
much of
Someone
anything
was
that
asking about it.
trust me. I saw it in the theater.
I know. I'm sure that was fun. And no, I have not seen When Evil Lurks. I haven't even heard much about it.
What? That's the first time I've even heard of that. What is this, an indie film?
I think so. I can't even tell you the plot because I heard the plot once when I was on the Dead Pit stream, and I already forgot what the fuck the plot was because I never heard anyone talk about the movie. When Evil Lurks, maybe it's Jada Pinkett, in her closet. That's where the evil lurks.
It's the sequel to What Lies Beneath.
The black hole. That's what it's called, the black hole. Jada Pinkett is the black hole of beaches. Argentinian horror. Okay.
Okay. All right.
They even know they made. I mean, I guess it makes. Well, I can't think of another movie from Argentina. And not that Don't Cry for Me. Uh, don't cry for me.
Evita?
Argentina. Yeah. Yeah, fuss the anime range. People were mentioning
Speaking of
that.
Vita, have you
Yeah.
seen people have been this kind of went a little bit viral of like a concert a video of Madonna and they were like talking how
No.
weird she looks and how it looks like she's wearing padding on her ass.
And on her face.
She's had a lot of work done.
Yeah, she looks like a fucking xenomorph. Some looks like a paper doll with no eyes. I don't know what the fuck she looks like.
Yeah,
She
it's
is the Barbie. She's the real Barbie.
Mm. She looks like
It's I
one of
mean
those
it's
patients.
stupid.
She looks like one of those people who paid to get us all this like body modification surgery from um
Bruce Campbell and Steve
yeah,
from LA.
him too, and also American Mary. You know,
Hmm.
from what's her name in that movie? She was in Ginger Snaps. Catherine Isabel.
Oh, okay. Let's see, what was it? Madonna looks plastic. I think she was wearing Depends.
Mm.
Yeah, American Mary, Catherine Isabel. Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that
There's the
one.
Gremlins. Yeah, they're cool.
Have
She
you
looks
seen
like
that
Mickey
one?
Ward's sister.
Yeah. But Mickey Rourke has an
Gotta get
excuse.
away from his.
He got into a boxing ring and got hit one too many times in the face.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, there's more to it than that,
Mhm.
but that didn't help.
I think it was like a botched
So how many boxing
surgery.
matches did Madonna get? Which
Other than
boxing matches did Madonna get in?
celebrity death match.
Yeah, she did a Mickey Ward and an Axl Rose.
Speaking of Axl Rose and Guns N' Roses, my stepdad, he actually went to a concert that Guns N' Roses was playing at, and he went to one where Axl was a dick and like left the stage and they stopped playing like before the end of the concert because some guy I think
Why?
called him gay from the stands or whatever and like maybe threw something. I don't know like what it was or it was just you just made some off the cuff just derogatory comment and then Axel was such a pussy that he was all like, well, fuck this, and then like just left.
So he's never been to a concert before, which of course he has. I mean, that of all the decades you've done it, that's the worst you've heard, dude. Really? If I recall, cocksucker, motherfucker,
Yeah.
steer roast, steer
Yeah.
mark, all that shit. Cokehead, dope head, meth head, potato head. Sure, he's been
Like,
called every
we had a
fucking
bad
name.
day. He had a bad day. So what? Like, just fucking finish the concert.
Well, you don't have a bad day now. You know, a bunch of people riot and stomp on his. Uh, maybe if they stomp on his face, it'll fix the face. So maybe that's what I was looking for. Maybe if this group of people stomp on my face, it'll fix it back to normal.
That's what happened with Axl Rose recently. I didn't read about that. He either actually got trampled or something.
No, I'm just saying, like, if he
Yeah.
if it calls a riot, maybe that's what he would want.
Oh, okay.
If he left,
All
cause a
right.
riot, maybe that was his purpose. I'm gonna cause a riot so people can stop on my face.
Mm.
And yeah, I've someone was asking. I reviewed what was that movie? Uh, Soylent Green. I reviewed Soylent Green, Rufus. The reviews on the channel. I
It's
liked it.
people. Soylent
Exactly.
Green is people.
It certainly is.
There actually was a
Uh,
plant-based product. that came out. It's not a meat product, it's a drink. It was called Soylent.
Well, I ain't drinking it then.
It's like
Get an Army Hammer.
they had to be self-aware. Seriously. You could call it something called a futuristic uh
Did Army
uh
Hammer make it?
meal replacement product and call it Soylent. Come on.
He loves eating people.
What a
Army
fucking
Hammer.
weirdo. What a weirdo, man.
I'm sorry to hear that, EM. You had the code to the VID since Christmas. I'm sorry to hear
Oh
that, man.
man.
And this is
Hope you
cheering
get
you up. Oh,
better.
well, I'm glad we're cheering you up.
I've been there. That shit lingers. Not fun.
Our favorite movie of the year?
Oh.
I have to think
Mm.
about it.
I haven't seen as many as you have, so I still need to see more.
Right.
Off the top of my head, it's that Robert Englund documentary, but that's just for me.
Man, I like that. I'm just trying to think of an actual like movie.
The actual movie. I did like Sisu,
I
and I really did like
Yeah,
Renfield.
I guess I'll say Stretching too, even though that I had
Okay.
issues with. See, there's not a film that I saw that would give like a 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5.
Yeah, it's not like John Wick
They're all like
Chapter 3. You know, where like it's an
right.
instant like that movie was fucking awesome. Like there's none of
They're all
that.
like a yeah. They had to mostly be like 3.5 out of 5. So that's why for me there are films I like, but it's been a very weak leader. Haven't seen Oppenheimer. I know I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet either. It's the year of the mid. That's what I've been calling it. Year of the mid. Like a lot
Mhm.
of just okay or above average movies or worse. So nothing like really, really great or really, really good.
No. Thank you, Psycho Hobo. No, thank you for the request. Soma was an interesting story, although had some issues with the gameplay itself. But still, thank you for that and the request. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. So it's all good, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Sorry about the lateness. Just been a lot of stuff going on, but trying to catch up. That's why I'm up like 3, 4 a day. So it's the least I could do.
Mhm.
Um, let's see.
The Iron Claw I am really curious about. I really like that story. I think the story of the Von Erichs is something that could be really compelling if it's done right. And I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. And I actually did get a request from Brock to do that one as well as a bunch of other wrestling movies like The Wrestler and Beyond the Mat and and a few
Oh, cool.
others. So I don't know if I'll see it in the theater, but because they're the way things are, like it's gonna hit streaming within like the next month or two, more than likely.
Yeah, more than likely, yeah. So, yeah, I've heard good things. I've heard it's not the most historically accurate though.
Not
But I
surprised.
guess if you're into the story,
I mean, that's the thing.
like
Like
the themes, I guess.
this is what I expect. I expect historically inaccurate biopics nowadays, or just period.
Yeah.
I just expect them to take creative liberties to make it a more compelling, consistently engaging movie. And so you know, it not being historically accurate, it's like doesn't bother me as much. Sometimes it does bug me though, like, but that's because it's more like of stuff that they leave out, not necessarily stuff that oh
Mhm.
well this isn't really what happened or it didn't happen this way. Kind of like with Elvis, like there were a lot of inaccuracies in that, but I still really like that film, and they changed things around so it would make the narrative fit better, play out better, almost like a Broadway play in a lot of ways. Um, so I'm expecting that with the Iron Claw. So I don't think I'll be too upset about that. The one time
Mhm.
it being historically inaccurate really bothered me was Bohemian Rhapsody. because I just felt that there was just so
Mm.
much missing, and there were so many things that they could have done, and they just sanitized things and played things clean, and like didn't even talk about half of Queen's career and Freddie Mercury's career. Like they just ended it after Live Aid. You know, it was like, huh? You know, like that. That's what was more aggravating to me instead of it being historically inaccurate. Um, okay,
So Jamro has a question for you here. What's your
okay,
favorite Godzilla films?
man, I need to watch
I would,
more. I haven't watched as
well,
many as Matt has. There's
well, the
ones
ones you
I'm
saw.
curious about. I do want to see GMK because I like the idea of a Deadite Godzilla. That sounds really cool. Um, I would say, I mean, I'm actually one of the few that actually does like the 1998 film.
So
Um,
do I.
I have some nostalgia for Godzilla 1985, but I tried watching that. I think like a couple years ago. It hasn't held up that well. um, Man, I would say out of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head, like the original's really good for what it is. I do have fun with the Smog Monster one. I think that's, a lot of people dunk on that one, but I enjoy that one for like just for entertainment. It's a fun kind of
Yeah, I
beat 'em
love that
up
one.
monster movie.
That's one of my favorites.
I That might be my favorite actually. That off the top of my head is Godzilla versus Hedorah. So the smog monster.
Hmm.
Because I think because I remember watching that, and I think it was Spike TV of all things. It was like a marathon of Godzilla movies. I remember watching that. Um, and I need to
Very
watch
trippy
more.
movie.
I really
It's a
do
very
because
trippy film.
I have a ton. I mean I pretty much have them all. Not on I don't have the Criterion Blu-ray, that massive awkward box set. I don't have that.
Right.
I have a DVD set with a bunch of them. I have a couple Blu-rays that have some double features of a few. The current ones, Gareth Edwards, I think he's the guy who did the 2014, right? Was it 2014 or was it
Gareth Edwards, yeah.
2013? Which year was that Godzilla?
14, well, I think 14, 2014,
Yeah, that
I
one
believe.
was goddamn disappointing and still is a goddamn disappointment. So many different ways. Aaron Taylor Johnson just being miscast as Ford Brody. Fucking stupid name.
Well, he was such a great
And
character, they brought him back so many times.
and then they had Bryan Cranston, and he was really good in like the 5 minutes he was in, and then they made the dire mistake of, oh, let's kill him off. Like, why? They're stuck with this fucking generic army man as your lead, and then Gareth Edwards to do this stupid artistic choice to always cut away from a fight between Godzilla and like the monsters. It'd be like, oh, here's Godzilla, he's gonna do something. Nope, we're gonna do a cutaway. Psych. Just give you blue balls
Hmm.
on purpose. King of Monsters is better, but like it still had its issues. Honestly, out of these MonsterVerse things, I like Skull Island more than any of the Godzilla movies.
I agree. And so, Central Helba has another request. Hey, Mike, would you ever do a request for the what if video of Ridley Scott's attempt of Dune, if there's enough material for it, that
If
is?
there is, like, I would have to think about like if there's any articles or anything about it. I don't. I'm That's the first time I've heard about Ridley Scott trying to do Dune. Like I know about Alejandro Jodorowsky and
Jodorowsky.
yeah his vision of Dune, because there's a whole documentary about it. I know about
Yeah.
Ridley Scott's I Am Legend. I know that he was going to do that with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it even got to the point where there were even makeup tests that were done. And I don't mind the Will Smith version, but you know what? I kind of wish we got that. I'd rather see that I Am
Well, of
Legend, in
course.
all honesty.
Yeah, Ridley Scott and Arnold. I mean, I think a lot of people would have. been more interested in seeing that.
Plus practical effects. I don't know if it was Stan Winston that was doing that or Rob Bottin. It was one of those two. Could have
I,
sworn it was one
I
of those two.
wanted I want to say Winston. Could be
Yeah.
wrong because I don't know if Robert Team was working at that time. I don't know when he quit.
Yeah. I think he quit sometime in the 90s, didn't he? Or the 2000s or whatever.
That's for me. And then yeah, so I don't know.
Maybe he's like, man, I cooked too many brain cells while I was shooting the thing. I
Guess I don't
I don't
know.
want to cook anymore. Because they even talked about that in the documentary, that the terror takes shape, where he had to cut corners to create these creatures and used all this like really noxious all this noxious chemicals and stuff like that. And when it burned, it was just awful.
Yeah, but I don't know much about really Scott doing Dune. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
much about that. Uh, let's see. Yeah, we know about Crusade with Arnold. We've heard about that a
Yeah.
lot. Paul
Like
Verhoeven.
Carlico. Oh, we can do
Mhm.
this potential slam dunk movie with Paul Verhoeven and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Middle Ages, or we can do a pirate movie for the same amount of money,
Cutthroat Island. Yeah.
or what? Honestly, cheaper. They thought it was going to be cheaper, but it turned out being the exact same amount of money. And they should have thought of that ahead of time. Like, there could be some issues with shooting, there could be other cost overruns. We have to take that into account. Maybe that's another reason why the company went out of business, is because they never took those things into account. They never thought about potential cost overruns. They never set themselves up to have a fallback if anything went wrong. Um Carlico in a lot of ways is kind of like Canon, where they were just like, let's do everything and anything, and hopefully, like, something will make a profit, and whatever makes a profit will be enough to keep us afloat. And as things started to evolve in the industry, that absolutely was not the case anymore, because budgets were going up and up and up and up, and like, you're just throwing all this money out there, and then if you don't recoup enough of the cost, like, and Carlico near the end was like literally, they were working with debt already. And they were like buying debt from other places to add to their debt to try to keep the doors. It's a mess. Is everything okay, Matt?
Yeah, I was trying. Someone mentioned the greatest film never made book, and I
Oh yeah,
have.
by David Hughes.
I
That's
was
a
trying to see if
great book.
I was seeing if I had it here, but I think it's in the other room. I was going to show it. But yeah, that is a pretty good book.
Yeah, I have
I think
that
it's in the other
one.
room.
It's got some stains from like, it has some juice stains on it because I spilled some fucking juice or whatever. Because I brought it with me to school, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" I think it was like some Mountain Dew Code Red or something. I'm like, "God damn it, the fuck!" And I haven't bought a new one yet because I'm like, I if I find it for cheap somewhere, I'd probably get a replacement. But yeah, that book's great.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. There's some really good chapters about I Am Legend, the Ridley Scott one. There's good chapters about Night Skies. That's really where I learned about all of that. Because actually, I got the original print, the first run print of that book, and then I bought
Mm.
the new print, which the second edition or whatever, that had like extra stuff in it. I think I might still have the first run somewhere. I'm not sure
Mm.
though, because I thought it had some photos in it that I don't think the other one had. Because I had some storyboards and other stuff like that in it. And I knew about the I Am Legend project because there were photos of the makeup effects in a makeup effects book that I have. Because I remember, because it's a makeup effects book. It's by Tashin, I think. And like now,
Mhm.
it's not the easiest book to find, I remember correctly. So it's not cheap. It's a cool book. It's about like the history of makeup effects or special effects, and I don't think it's just special effects. I think it's makeup effects in particular. I think there might be a
Mm.
few other special effects stuff in there. It was a cool book. I think the cover is of Arnold from T3
Hmm.
because it came out around that time.
But thank you, Caleb, for the kind words. Premiere, doing okay. Glad you had a good Christmas. Mine was shitty. Mike's was a little bit better,
Yeah,
but it is what it is.
I mean, it was just kind of a normal thing. Like I spent time with my grandmother at her retirement community, and she really appreciated that. We had breakfast with my two uncles and my stepmom, and my stepdad, and it was a good time. But it was very short. My mom works nights, so she was only able to be there for a little bit, and then went back home to sleep. So it's kind of a normal day, really. I watched Office Christmas Party
Mhm.
before I went to bed, and that is such a mediocre, forgettable comedy. No wonder
Mm.
barely next to nobody even remembers that movie nowadays, let alone is like, "Oh yeah, you want a film for your Christmas playlist? Office Christmas Party." Like, I mean, even the title, like, it's the most generic shit ever.
Uh, that's funny. I actually have a request to see that sometime
You
soon.
do?
So yeah, I look forward to
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Good luck with that one, Matt. It's got a good cast. It does. Jason Bateman's pretty good in it. I didn't mind Olivia Munn. Normally, I'm very iffy on her and a lot of things, but I didn't
Hmm.
mind her in this. Because
Cool.
wasn't she also on The Predator? Was that her? That was the one that was doing the running on the top of the
Oh, I
buses and
think
shit?
so.
Yeah.
I just didn't remember her last name. I know it was Olivia because the names I get confused with Olivia Wilde, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
Olivia Munn. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's who it was. I liked
yeah,
her a
she
lot
was a
more in Office
scientist too.
Christmas Party than in The Predator.
Okay.
But you got Kate McKinnon
Cool.
being weird, doing her just really just
It's just Kate
lame
McKinnon.
shtick.
When is she not weird?
Yeah, that's her whole thing. She's a weirdo. Like,
Good for
haha,
her.
so funny. And she when she gets anxious, she farts. That's supposed to be really funny. And
Probably in, probably in real life too.
she has all these birds, and that's like a repeated thing. TJ Miller, eh,
But hi there, Callum, and hi there, Julie. T.J. Miller, I think he works best in Deadpool.
yeah. When he's playing off of somebody else. Jennifer Aniston, she's just mostly a bitch in this. And honestly, I liked her a lot more in something like Horrible Bosses or We're the Millers. Definitely a lot
Hmm.
more than whatever she does in this. Also, the party
Yeah.
itself, like there are times where it's crazy, but then there's other times where it seems like it's tame. And I watched the unrated
Mm.
cut, and some of the stuff that seems wilder is just the aftermath that you don't even see happen in the first place. So for a film that's marketed as this, oh, it's outrageous. You're like, other than like a lame bit where guys were like using a 3D printer to print off copies of their dicks, and like there's a whole bit where like, oh, this guy's dick is bent, and then the guy's like, no, that's not mine. That's a mistake. That's an error. Like it's supposed to be hilarious because his dick is bent sideways, and it printed off of the 3D printer, and it's all bent. I'm like,
Sounds great. But no, Sekiro, boy, I've not seen The Day the World Ended. Never seen it. See, people are talking about G4. Oh, because Olivia Munn was on there. So they mentioned
yeah,
her
G4 the
turn on
network.
there.
Yeah, her turn on there, which is a lot of sexual innuendo. I
The
think
best.
times were different back then.
for the best YouTubers. Thank you, Manuel. I
Thank
appreciate the
you.
kind words. Thank you.
Yeah, I felt kind of like this year went by pretty quick for me because I've just been working so much, and because I was just didn't have as much time, I just felt kind of bad. Like I tried to get as much out as I could, but I just
Right.
time was limited and I was
Well,
tired,
you're working
worn
two
out.
jobs. I think that's understandable.
Yeah.
When you're working two jobs, I think it's
Uh
pretty understandable.
2024 is going to be different though. I got some more ambitious stuff I'm thinking about doing, and I'll have more time to do it. I've been wanting to do the box office bomb series for many, 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 many years, and I think it has potential to be like an actual scripted series, maybe even with some footage. And I want to do something called cinematic catastrophes, where I kind of just take a random topic about something that went awry, whether it's a film production or a studio or an actor or a director, and just kind of focus on that. I think Uwe Boll would be a fun topic for a video like that. Because I don't understand, like people gave him all this praise for like doing that challenge. Like hey, you want to criticize my movies? Then come into the ring and fight me. And I'm and I'm like, why is anybody like, oh, I respect him now. I admire him now for that. I'm like, that has nothing to do with him as a filmmaker. Like, what does that have to do with
I,
anything?
I I didn't know people praised them, so
I've seen a
I'm
few
sorry.
things where people have said some stuff like that, where like they give him props for having the balls to do that or whatever, and I'm like, how about he gets a critic on a debate and like debate them on an intellectual level and win that? Then that would mean
Well,
something to me.
how about you spend that time trying to make better movies
Yeah,
and learning,
that too.
teaching
That too.
teaching your
Exactly.
bit of your own craft and how to write better.
Yeah.
It's so bullshit.
It's like I'll fight you. It's like
The movies are the best. Fuck you. I was in an Overbowl
yeah,
documentary
I saw that.
for for like 10 seconds, but because it was like I guess this is like videos from way back in like
yeah.
2010 when people
Yeah.
were shitting on him, and I think it was like
Uh-huh.
I was shitting on Postal. So like 10 second, which is funny because I say it and then it fades to black, and then it's like, wow, I got to be the end of some scene. To I say something so, I guess, vitriolic that
Uh-huh.
it turned the screen literally black. So that's what I do. That was my tip of the dit to the production, I guess. There you go. Just the
Uh,
tip though. So that's a guy you never hear of anymore.
no.
When was the last time you heard that
I
guy?
don't know. See, that's the thing, like, all of that, and all it got was, like, maybe 15 more seconds of fame for him, like, if you really think about it. Like, a documentary that pretty much not very many people even remember, and
Right.
all these other bad movies. He just kept making bad films.
I think there were two documentaries because I think there were two.
Yeah.
I forget the names of them because I know I was in one, and the
Uh-huh.
guys from Dip Pit they were in the other. So it's like that one person put you in that Corey Feldman documentary
Oh, yeah.
that they made on YouTube about
Yeah.
the lot, how much he lies.
It's true. He's a fucking liar. I
So
mean,
let
the
me go
stories I've
through the
heard
chat
about
real
that
quick. Yeah,
that guy, man, like I lost so much respect for Corey. Like as soon as I found out like a lot of that stuff, especially when he kept being friends with Dominic. After it was pretty fucking clear that he's the one that let's just say treated Corey Haim very inappropriately.
right. Manual, no, I do not. No, Alone in the Dark 2005 is not an underrated gem. I have no idea what you mean.
The
I have no idea what you mean,
1982
man.
film, that's an underrated gem with Jack Palance. If you're talking about that one, but not the one with Tara Reid as a scientist.
Or Trisha Slayer doing Matrix Kung Fu bat flips in the first 15 minutes of the movie. Well, actually, no. The first 15 minutes is the same text crawl. It keeps going.
It's also
So
one of the worst video
the
game
text
movies
crawl,
because it has absolutely jack shit to do with the game. There's no connection to the game whatsoever in that movie.
like most of his movies, like Far Cry, all that
Yeah.
shit.
Or House of the Dead.
Yeah, where it could be just
It's
anything.
Island
It
of the
could have
Dead.
been,
That's literally what there is no House of the Dead. Where's the House of the Dead in House of the Dead? There's a shack in one scene, if I remember correctly.
Das Boot to the Dead, since you got the guy from Das Boot, Jurgen Brotnell there. Das Boot up your ass to the dead. There you go. But yeah, those movies are pretty shit.
And yes, to be fair, he's done a few films that were okay, but nothing like great.
Yeah, there were two.
Yeah.
I could watch maybe Rampage,
Yeah, Rampage.
yeah, Rampage, and Assault on Wall Street.
Yeah.
But even they
Yeah.
have their issues.
Yeah.
The other stuff, no.
It's kind of
I
like
mean, they just
it's kind of
suck.
like a director like Albert Pyun. Like may he rest in peace, but most of his filmography is mostly awful movies. Like I'm just gonna be honest here. I mean, you got Sword and the Sorcerer and Nemesis. Um, trying to remember if there's any other ones that were
Cyborg,
Cyborg.
Dollman,
That one. Those those are pretty good. I would say if he has a better track record than
Dollman,
Uwe Boll, but
Dollman is fun.
not by a whole lot because he's still got like Sword and the Sorcerer 2, the Streets of Fire sequel where Cody is a serial killer for some fucking reason now. And a bunch of
Captain
other
America.
just awful movies. Captain America, even though it's a guilty pleasure for me, but I get it. I totally that movie's not good. Matt
Yeah,
Salinger and his rubber ears.
yeah. Overball made. Yeah, I mean, I heard Overball made films for a test write-off. As if I was shipping a gold or whatever gold bullion he had in his back pocket, where the hell that thing was.
Yeah,
You're in prod now. Okay.
I'm definitely starting to think that making movies for money laundering is definitely an actual thing. Because when you see some of these films, you're like, how the fuck did anybody get this amount of money for this shit? And then you're like, oh, okay. Like you look at the last two Ernest movies, and you're like, were those just money laundering? They're just laundering money for those two. Is that why they went to South Africa? Because it's like they couldn't shoot it in like the South, like it, somewhere in the South, like they did some of the other movies. Like they had to go to South Africa. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of sketchy if you think about it.
Yeah. And no, I haven't seen much Studio Ghibli movies. I know those are anime movies. No, I haven't seen much of them.
I've seen a handful, not as many as I need to. I've seen Porco Rosso. That was fun. I like that one. I watched the English dub because Michael Keaton he voices the lead in it, and he does a good job.
Hmm.
Um, I've seen a few others too, but I need to see more because I like animation. Anime has some really just gorgeous visuals in it. In a lot of these anime films, Studio Ghibli ones definitely have some of just the most visually stunning bits of animation. So Definitely want to see more of them. And I have a good chunk of them on Blu-ray thanks to Jonathan. So
Cool. No, no one has requested a review for Wonka, so no, I have not seen it, Joe. But thank you for the super chat.
my stepdad,
But
he
no,
uh, he he went and saw it on Christmas, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to see Wonka?" And I'm like, "No, I'm sorry." Like, it's he would have paid for a ticket too, and I'm just like, I just really don't want to. I just don't want to see Wonka. Like, if I want to see a Willy Wonka, I'm just gonna go watch the original again. I'll break out my 4K and watch the Gene Wilder version. I don't want to watch the Timothy Chalamet version. The trailers, he just seemed off. Like he was just horribly miscast. Like it doesn't, you don't buy him as a young Willy Wonka.
yeah, I have no interest about a Wonka prequel.
And then a
Idea
lot of it was just
zero fucks.
the supposed hilarity of what the Hugh Grant as a Oompa Loompa. Like, haha, it's so funny because it's Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa, and I'm like, so
Don't give a shit.
want to see something with Hugh Grant? I'll watch Desperate. What is it? Desperate. Not Desperate
Housewives.
Measures. No, it's the one that he did with Gene Hackman.
Oh no, that's Extreme
Extreme
Measures.
Measures. I almost said Desperate Measures because and they'll both have
The
measures in the title.
Extreme Measures.
But that's
Yeah.
the Michael Keaton one, is Desperate Measures. But yeah,
Yeah,
Extreme
Extreme
Measures.
Measures had Hugh Grant and Gene Hackman. Good movie, underrated film.
Very
Not
underrated.
on Blu-ray.
That seems like a good one for Kino to do one of these days. 'Cause it's
Yeah,
got
but no
enough
one's
star
heard of the
power.
movie or remembers it.
Yeah.
But it's a good one. Extreme Measures is a good one.
I wish it did better because
I
then
would
we'd see Hugh
recommend it.
Grant do more films like that.
Has an awful trailer.
Oh
Like the
God.
trailer is awful.
Yeah.
So that's probably why it flopped. Because you see that trailer so awfully edited and
Yeah.
raw music.
Mhm.
It is that's not how you do a trailer, but it's a
No.
pretty good. I don't know if you call it thriller, but it kind
I
of
would say thriller. Yeah.
yeah. Yes. Oh, thank you, Zach Elliott. I'm not sure if I've seen you on here before. I liked it. The first Chronicle. Uh, it's a different take on a superhero story mixed with a found footage angle. Michael B. Jordan, early role
Mhm.
for him. Also, oh, what's the guy? He was Green Goblin in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh, fuck. He was also in A Cure for Wellness, right?
Yeah, that one. That's what I was thinking of, Tear for Wellness,
God, what the
which I
fuck
don't
is
mind
his
that
name?
actor.
Yeah, I'm blanking on him too.
But yeah, I liked it because you have three friends. They find something. They get powers because of high school troubles. One uses for good, one uses for his own.
Dane
They get
Dehan?
payback on both. Dahan, yeah,
Yeah,
Dane
Dane
Dahan or
Dehan?
something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's who it
Yeah,
is.
there you
Yeah.
go. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Dane.
Thank you, Eric.
My
But yeah, I liked it.
internal
I'm fine
IMDb
as no.
finally kicked in.
Uh, I'm fine with no sequel. I think the way the film ends, there's no
I
cliffhanger.
think you would have
It kind of
gotten one
ended
if
its
Josh
story.
Trank didn't turn out to be such a burning trash fire. But like I think that's really what
That's
led to there
a
being no sequel.
that's a documentary that'd be interesting to see. Is that movie
Yeah, and to
and the
see
behind
both
the scenes?
sides. Like both sides.
Yeah,
Like not
both
just a
sides.
one-sided thing. Like cuz I'm not even sure if we even know the full truth of what really happened cuz the media they're not always the most trustworthy. They could have made shit up to make him
Yeah,
look worse than he actually was.
I would love to have Josh Trank and just talk to him It's like you gotta be honest, but he's probably like, I
I
can't because
can't.
I already got
It's NDA.
I already my career already died for a couple years. I'm trying to get it back. I'm like, that's okay. Tell me anyway. We're all friends. We
Yeah.
won't say
And to
anything.
be honest, Fan Four Stick, I don't hate the movie. It's not great. It's very just kind of there in the
I
middle.
don't mind it.
Yeah.
I it has issues, but I never hated like other people
No.
because I liked that it was trying to be. I kind of liked an idea of a
I love
darker
the body
Fantastic
horror.
Four. I like
I love the body horror angle. I thought it was really unique and cool. And I didn't mind Michael B. Jordan. Like, that didn't bother me. I mean, they did this in other Marvel movies. It didn't bother me. I mean, the Ancient One in Doctor Strange is Tilda Swinton. Didn't didn't
Sam
didn't
Jackson, Nick
didn't bother
Fury.
me. Sam Jackson as Nick Fury. Although technically, yes, he was in the Ultimate Comics, but still like
Mm.
it didn't bother me then. Or Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin. Like, it's as long as the core of the character remains intact, I don't necessarily care whether it's a certain race or not. In terms of like, especially with someone like Johnny Storm. Now, if we're talking about like Kal El, then we're kind of getting into a different sort of thing for me. But
Right.
it just in this context didn't bother me. I think Miles Teller was a good casting choice as Mr. Fantastic. I even didn't mind the actress who played Sue Storm. Forgot her name though. I don't remember. Like I didn't mind
Mm.
her, but her name's not coming to me. Uh, I like
It
the
just needed
design
a
of the
bit more.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, that was a different take on it. It
Hmm.
just needed a bit more motion and a bit more action.
Yes,
I think that could have helped.
yes. But here's the thing: the other two
But
Fantastic
then,
Four films, they didn't have a ton of memorable action scenes either. If you really think about it, the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies, like how
well, they
many
don't like
memorable?
those either.
Yeah.
Well, people don't like those movies either. So,
Well, they think they're better than this, and I never really got. I'm like, I personally like the Fantastic this Fantastic Four more than the Tim Story ones. Well, it's not it's not as accurate to the comics. Like neither are Christopher Nolan's Batman movies. Like when they take all of these creative liberties, and that's the double standard thing. It's like, oh, Fan Four Stick is like apocalyptically, abysmally bad, and one of the worst comic book films ever because it's not like the comics. But Christopher Nolan fucks around with shit and it's fine and it's acceptable and it doesn't bother me. You know, it's like what's with the double standards? Like if you don't like the movie, it's fine. Like maybe it's like oh, it's boring or I don't get into the characters as much or the action scenes kind of suck. Then I'm like, okay, all right. Well, it's not like the comics. It's like I think that's kind of a weak reason for why it's one of the worst films of its genre. Especially when we got
well,
Steel and Catwoman.
yeah, and I mean, a lot of people that say that probably never even read the comics of Fantastic Four. I'm like, How many comics do you own of Fantastic Four?
Me? I don't even think
No,
I
I
even
mean like
own.
people who say that.
Oh, okay.
Like
I don't
you should
know.
ask. It's like we asked them, well, how many comics do you actually own since you're such a fucking
Yeah.
expert?
Yeah, that happens a lot. I got into that with Batman. When I was doing the Nolan Batman stuff, and I was like, it's not like the
Yeah,
comics. And yes, that did frustrate me with some of those, but it wasn't necessarily the fact that the Dark Knight Rises wasn't like Nightfall and Night's End or No Man's Land. It's just that they were
because it's a
bad.
dog
They
shit
were,
movie
yeah, they were bad adaptations of those comics, and they were lazy.
and bad and a bad movie.
And so that's what
That's a
upset
bad
me.
movie.
Oh yeah. I'll watch Fan 4 stick over The Dark Knight Rises any day of the fucking week. First off, it's shorter, so that's definitely a positive. It's not nearly 3 hours long. Say whatever you want about the Doctor Doom. I thought the Doctor Doom portrayal was interesting as well. I like that a lot
But
more
you
than
don't have a
Bane.
football player. You don't have a football player running across the football field, not noticing that the whole fucking thing is blowing behind him
And then I don't
for
have
some reason.
No, Batman, I expect you to
No,
die.
not Batman. I need to teach you a lesson. I need you to teach you about it. My
Fucking
name is
G.
Bane. I'm going to sound like Sean Connery.
Darth Sean
I'm going
Connery.
to die and I'm making you miss it.
I'm gonna die like a bitch.
And, and Batman's going to try to drop the bomb like he was Adam West.
I know, it's literally just that scene. But it's like super serious and shit. I'm like, this is literally the Batman scene in the 60s Batman movie where he's running around with the bomb, trying to find where he's going to put it. He even drops the bomb in the ocean. The same fucking shit.
It is.
Part of me's wondering, like, was no one just trolling everybody? Was he just trolling the ever loving fuck
No.
out of everyone with that? He was like, yeah, we're just going to make it like the 60s Batman and it's just serious. Because I don't want to fucking make this movie. So I want to like do the worst job possible so that no one will ever ask me to do a Batman movie ever again. Of
Let's
course you
see.
got the
Hey,
the
so
outtake that was kept in the final cut of the movie. The shrimp
yeah,
balls and Bebop.
one Rocksteady. What?
No, remember I think I shared that on like Facebook one time. In The Dark Knight Rises, I kid you not, this is actually in the version that was released in theaters. The mayor guy, like right after there was this whole thing where they were talking about shrimp balls or whatever, the mayor guy goes up and to say his speech and he flubs his line. Like it's clear as day that he fucks up and it's kept in the movie. Like he
Mm.
fucks up, doesn't say the line properly, and then just goes back and repeats the line, and it was kept in the film.
Well, the whole movie's a fuck up, so I didn't notice. So, there you go. But hey there, Civil Wings. That's very cool. Good luck on you're doing a good job playing that game, Alien Resurrection for PS1.
Okay.
Very, very tough game. Supposed to be like one of the toughest games there, so seems better than the movie. Hey there, Joe. Uh I'm 50-50 on Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah. I like it more than I did when I last did a review of the movie. Like I definitely do would say that I'm more of a fan of the before I was like I was below average, blah blah blah, disappointing. Now I'm like I would say I am a fan of the film, but I don't love it. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's like, oh, I like it, but I definitely do not love the movie. For one, Ken Krisinger is just it's not the worst thing ever, but it's just not Kane Hodder. And when you know
It's the
what they
worst
did
Jason.
and what they did with Kane is just disrespectful and just absolute bullshit. And they literally just bent over and kissed, you know, the shoes of Ronnie Yu. Like, oh, Ronnie Yu,
Well,
you
they
know, just
bent over
yeah,
and kissed Ronnie Yu's ass.
yeah,
Just
exactly.
brought a
That's what I'm
check in their
saying.
money.
Yeah.
Now, with Freddy vs. Jason, I like Robert Englund's performance.
Mm-hmm.
I do like some of the kills, the
Yeah.
bed scene, for example.
Yes. Yes.
I think there's some decent cinematography.
I don't mind some of the other cast members. Like I've warmed up to Monica Keena.
I
Uh,
don't. I do not like her in it.
it
She's
is
hot,
cool.
but
Yeah.
she don't get naked.
Yeah.
So that's a bummer. And I think
Yeah.
she sucks. I think she's
Yeah.
phony. I think she's like
Yeah.
a bad version of Brittany Murphy.
You know what?
I do. I just
That's not a that's that's not really that far off. But I'm not gonna say she was
it's like
great. I'm just saying like
we can't get Brittany Murphy because she's
yeah.
dead. So let's get Monica Keena and she
I think
sucks.
was she still alive at that point? I think she was still alive at that point. They couldn't get her.
Was
She
she?
didn't want to do it.
Well, I guess I don't know when she passed away, but
Um, but yeah, I see where you're coming from. Catherine Isabel, uh,
doesn't have much to do.
no. This the Jason Mewes fucking guy. What the hell was that? Like they literally were like, well, "Hey, we want Jason Mewes in this, but we can't get him to
Why
do
didn't they
it."
just
So
get Jason
I
Mewes?
know
I'm sure he would have said
exactly.
yes. Yeah, Further Jason, there's stuff I like about it, but
There's
the
other stuff
scene
that's
with
just dumb.
Jason being afraid of water, because he's supposed to be afraid of drowning, but he's
Hmm.
literally shaking like a bitch.
Yeah.
And then Freddy kicks his ass in the dream world, then Freddy kicks his ass in the real world.
Yeah.
So it's like the movies playing favorites.
Yeah, it's kind of one-sided.
It's more of a Freddy movie than a Jason movie.
Hmm.
I'll put it that way. It's a pretty decent Freddy movie. It's a lackluster Jason movie, except for a few kills. That's the way I
That,
put it.
that's fair. That's fair. Um,
It's a
it
pretty decent Freddy movie, but yeah,
and if you think
lackluster
about it,
Jason movie.
that is a little disappointing considering, this is something that's like a dream project for a lot of fans of both franchises.
Yeah.
Um, I don't necessarily feel if Kane was in it would have necessarily fixed those things because it still would have been there. But part of me is just I just wish they did this like in the 90s, you know? I wish that's when they did
Mm.
Freddy versus Jason. Like around the time of Jason Goes to Hell or something. Like maybe after Jason Goes to Hell, it's Freddy versus Jason. Because there's the whole like Freddy's glove comes out and grabs like there you go. That could have just been the lead in. And I think that's what they were thinking about doing, but it just didn't work out. They couldn't get the scripts right. Some of the scripts for Freddy versus Jason that didn't get made are just fucking insane. Like there's a whole book
Yeah.
about him that's a fun read. I need to pick that up. Um, I've just heard it's a fun read. Slash of the Titans is what it's called.
Mm. Yeah, there was a lot of crazy ideas. There was a group of kids and they're like cleaning up some facility, and there's the Holy Grail in there.
Jesus Christ.
And for some reason, Freddy or Jason have to find the Holy Grail.
Yeah. There's the whole bit where they're in hell and there's like Dahmer and all these other
Is
serial
Indiana Jones
killers.
in there?
And there's like yeah, I think there was a trial or some shit. I was like, what? The trial of
Jason was on
Freddy?
trial, right?
Yeah, yeah, Jason's on trial.
Can you imagine that Jason on a stand with would he be in chains? Would he have his hockey mask on? Like, or is it supposed to be like a guy who inspired like the real Jason,
The
but then the
trial of
Jason we know was a
the
movie?
trial of Jason Voorhees. Is Bill Bixby gonna show up too? as fucking as David Banner.
And there was the one where Jason was like a protector of this lady
Hmm.
against these Freddy cult members
Yeah. They could even called them
called
Fred
Fred
Heads, I think.
Heads,
Yeah. Which is the
and
name
they
of the Freddy
worshipped.
fans. Like they're called Fred Heads.
And what was his like? The backstory was that Freddy molested Jason when he was a kid,
Yeah, some weird
and then
fucking thing.
killed Jason.
I also know there's another one where there's a scene where Jason drives a
From
fucking minivan. He drives a Subaru. Like there's actually a fucking scene where Jason is driving a fucking Subaru. I'm like, what?
what was the one where they fight in a mall?
Yeah, there was one like that too, I think. Just
There's a lot. I mean,
just so many. You're like, this doesn't. Why is they fucking this up so badly? Like, it's Freddy versus. It shouldn't be that fucking hard, right? Just get a bunch of teenagers, have Freddy and Jason show up, kill them in
that's
inventive
kind of what they
ways,
did.
and then they fight. That's it. We don't need
Then it,
fucking Jason on
yeah.
trial or any of this other shit. Jason driving a fucking minivan. Can you imagine if that fucking happened? That's all of a sudden Jason driving a fucking Subaru. He's gonna
Maybe
go
they
to the
become
soccer
a
match. He's gonna go to the soccer match. He's
super
gonna go pick up the
purple.
kids.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit if you look it up.
Yeah,
It's
Carpool
interesting
2.
to find the info out. Yeah,
Carpool 2. Jason
uh,
Jason takes the van.
Down by the river. Manuel, I've heard of that film. I've heard that's really lame and boring because what you do is you take a few pages from the book of Dracula being on the boat
Mhm.
to get from one to the other, but then you stretch it out to like a 2 hour running time.
Ooh. Mm.
And that just, from what I understand, they didn't really do anything that different compared to other Dracula or vampire stuff. It's just it's on a boat and that the characters aren't much. And how do you stretch that small bit of business for such a long running time? It just,
This is
and
why we
then
need.
like the lead guy's black, so they go into the whole racism
Oh,
thing.
great.
They try to
Fucking
put that into a
wonderful.
Dracula movie because this is what people wanted.
So it's gonna be
You
like
know,
the they, or was it them, or whatever the heck that Amazon series was. It was just,
they slash them.
yeah. Well, that was a different one, but I think it
Oh,
was.
them, yeah, them. The not the yeah. There was a show called Them. Yeah,
God, that was so bad.
forgot about that. On a boat, do they stop in New York real quick? No, there's no Jason Voorhees on here. Maybe if Jason was on it, they tape Manhattan for 5 minutes and go to Canada to film the rest of it. Uh, but yeah, I've heard nothing but bad things about
Hmm.
even the Michael Keane, the Joyce voice. He saw the film, he didn't like it.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of Nightmare on Elm
no, not the
Street
one
and
with the giant
Freddy,
ears. Not that them.
no.
This is a different them.
Yeah,
Not the one with the
it's
giant ears. This is a TV show that was very
so heavy-handed. It was just,
racism, 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 racism.
yes, yes, to the point where it was even like suggesting that if you're of a different race, specifically if you're African American, like you're just screwed no matter what. Like that's kind of the vibe that it gives by the end of the show. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's fucking shitty. Like, if I don't think that's the best message to just be like, hey, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're this race and you live in the U.S., you are fucked. You're screwed. There's no hope. I'm like, wow, that's really fucking wonderful. Great.
Well, it's kind of weird because you did have, I guess you never heard of Obama.
I know.
We're so screwed. You have to be president. Things are tough over for everybody.
Yes.
Well, for anyone that bleeds red, then
Yeah.
you're tough. You're shit out of luck.
Especially
We all have
if you're
like
not in
shit
the one
going on.
percent. You're not in the 1%. Yeah. Everyone's struggling
Exactly.
one way or another.
If you're bleeding red, trust me, you don't have a tough time in your life. Well, exactly.
Speaking of
So,
Nightmare on Elm Street, I heard a rumor that, and this is something that's been rumored for years, but a rumor about a new box set, and we'll see if that actually does happen in the future or not.
they should,
I
because
agree.
don't the set you have out there is 2 movies per disc.
Yeah, it's.
It's ridiculous.
I was almost tempted to buy the standalone copy of the first film I saw somewhere because it's not, in a double feature disc, but I didn't.
Mhm.
Um, I keep seeing the remake. I keep seeing a lot. Here are some consistent things I keep seeing everywhere I go. Robocock. That is a common title I see everywhere. Goodwill,
That remake.
whatever. Yeah, whatever shop that I go to look for used Blu-rays or whatever. Robocock. Everyone's getting rid of it. They don't want the Robocock. They're like, no, I don't want this. Get this out of my face. And I'm like, yeah. I predicted. I said it's gonna be in dollar bins and it's gonna collect dust. And that's pretty much what's happening with with the RoboCop remake for 2014. I went to Big Lots like a couple years ago, and they even marked down the DVDs to like $1 something, and there were just rows and rows of RoboCop remake DVDs that did not sell, didn't go anywhere. And I was like, yeah, because it's fucking RoboCop. It's like you're gonna have to throw that shit away. Nobody fucking wants it. Except for the people who
I
try to
wouldn't get
argue
it.
that it's underrated and it's not as bad as people make it out to be. And it's not a bad movie. It's just a bad RoboCop film. I'm like, no, it's a bad RoboCop movie and it's a bad film.
So you're right. It's worse. It's not as bad. It's worse than that. Retro Analog, hey there. How you doing, man? The Blu-ray edition of the Dream Master is overly dark too. The old DVD set has
Yeah.
better picture quality.
Oh, I didn't know
Hmm.
that. Maybe I should have kept that. Um, I do have the laser disc of Nightmare 3. Um, but yeah, yeah, we'll see if that
Bunch of
box set ever
Robo
comes
copies.
out. Yeah, that I see the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street a lot of places too, because people don't. They're like, I don't want this. Get this out of here. Like, yeah, nobody wants Sling Blade Freddy either.
What are you waiting for? I haven't cut you yet. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna
French
cut you
fried
with some
taters.
potatoes.
and the and the magic room or whatever the fuck that was. We're gonna take you to the magic room.
Go hang out with April O'Neil here. Mm-hmm. Hang out with her dog. Does she? April O'Neil is in the
Yeah,
movie.
Judith
She
Hogue, yeah.
from the first Ninja Turtle movie. She plays like a doctor or something. Like once, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here?
I know.
It's
Clancy
just
Brown is in
hey. I
it
mean,
too, right?
she has to work.
Isn't Clancy Brown
Yeah,
in that too? Yeah.
yeah. He's one of the parents that burned the Freddy
I
in the
like
flashbacks.
I like the idea of the micro napping thing. That's one of the few things that are all like salvageable about that remake.
You know,
And I
like the
don't
one or
mind.
two scenes they did in it.
Yeah, I know. And I like was it Kyle Gallner? Like I don't mind him. Like I wish he was the
Yeah, that was
lead
the one.
instead of Rooney Mara who just sleepwalking throughout the entire movie.
I mean, that's an insult to sleep. It's a
She's in
weekend
a
at
coma.
Bernie's, Reno
Dot dot
style.
dot.
It's week- she was
That's
doing her impersonation a weekend at Bernie's. Wants to go for that gender bender reboot, a weekend at Bernie's. I played a corpse once. I could do it again.
I'm surprised they haven't done that. If you think about all these fucking remakes and reboots, like I'm surprised they haven't done Weekend at Bernie's, the gender bent version.
Yeah, but can you imagine that? It'd be like two guys just taking a woman,
I
just
know, I
tossing
know.
her around. They would get so bent out of shape. Just let me position this woman. You talk about no touch here.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, you're right. But at least like a
But
remake of some kind.
it'd
At
still be
least,
pretty, it probably would still be fucking funny.
yeah. Maybe that's the next movie
Can you imagine that?
The Daily Wire can do. They want to talk about like, well, we want to make movies that are offensive again and you know, comedies that are, you know, pushing the envelope. All right, do the Weekend at Bernie's remake with the
Weekend at Hermes. You know, weekend at Jesse's. Jessica just sitting there while they're in the golf cart, and as they turn, her head just falls into one of their laps. Just, just driving. Nothing to see here, folks. I'm just having some fun. Have a little bit of the job with the BJ in front. You want some? How much you pay?
That would be a great skit. Like that would be a funny sketch.
Can you imagine like they tie the they tie a woman up and then she falls off the boat as she goes through the buoys. It's like she's just a mermaid. I'm Tom Hanks. We're just filming a remake of Splash. Nothing to see here, folks. Everything's fine. But enough of a
weekend
Weekend at
at
Bernie's remake.
weekend at Bessie's.
Let's see. So people are talking about, oh, they're talking about Billy Bob Thornton because you mentioned Sling Blade and in them
For some
years, yeah.
reason, Matt, that movie's like out of print, which is kind of surprising since that movie like was Oscar bait and won awards. I guess it's because some people consider it to be offensive. I guess it's like not politically correct because of certain
It's a
elements of
good
it.
movie though.
So it's gone like out of print. Like Blu-rays are like expensive now for Sling Blade of all things.
Yeah, but it's a good movie. It's not. What's it offensive to? Offensive to who?
I don't remember. It's something that they were talking about. I don't remember exactly what it was. Some aspect of the plot. Read some article about it. But then again, we live in a world where people write articles about how True Lies is so offensive and
Or Bear Hills Cop 2 is sexist,
yeah,
supposedly.
that too, that too.
Yeah, sure, okay.
If they did make that Weekend at Bernie's remake, that man, he would not be able to handle that shit.
Yeah. Or Andrew Dice Play
It'd be
sequel of
horrified.
Four Fairlane.
Did I die and go to
Jesus.
heaven? Like that whole sorority house scene in Fort Fairlane is gold. Like even my mom was laughing her ass off at that scene because it's so over the top. Like it's not even supposed to be taken seriously. Like it's a satire of like the male gaze, I guess, if you want to go that far, because it's just so over the top and just ridiculous. Or like deep throating corn dogs and having pillow fights. Like it is like so absurd. Like, that's the point. It's just pointing out how just silly it all is.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Plus, it's nice to look at.
Yeah, that
And
too.
it's a pretty funny movie.
Oh, there's just I love that film. I it's right. It's one of my top 50 like favorites. Like it's just so funny. And like it gets funnier every year because it's just everything is just getting I'm offended and this triggers me and then like I
If you
miss
say
Ford
the F word
Fairlane.
again, hey, don't
Yeah,
curse.
that
If you say the F word again, I'm going to knock you the fuck out. Now. Get the fuck out of here. Have a tweety snap ahead.
so many assholes, so few bullets.
Let's see. We did a Bernadette. Yeah, that's what it would be called.
Bernadette's. Um,
Undertow, I have not seen. With Lou Diamond Phillips, I've heard of
I
it.
have that
I have
on
not seen
VHS
it.
somewhere. It looks kind of generic, really. If if you're a fan of LDP, I recommend the film Ambition for those of you who are a fan of his
Mm.
because that's a pretty underrated thriller that he did. He also directed it, I think, or he wrote it. He either wrote or directed it. Clancy Brown's
Mm.
also in it. It's a really good performance by him. Good performance by Lou Diamond Phillips as well. He plays a writer, and he gets he gets a opportunity to write a novel, to write a book. It's not really a novel. It's a autobiography of sorts about the serial killer played by Clancy Brown. And what's interesting about it is that Clancy Brown, he's become more reformed while he was in prison,
Mhm.
and so it just becomes this sort of this very obsessive sort of thing with Muhammad Phillips, or he's trying to get him to divulge more or do something so that we can write his novel or whatever. And then he becomes a killer himself, that kind of thing. But I thought it was really well written and had some good performances. And it was different to see that kind of take on a killer where like, oh, he's reformed now. Like he's not, you know, he did all these
Mhm.
horrible things, but you know, he's trying to, you know, reform himself. And you got this guy who's writing a book who just keeps, you know, poking at him.
Sounds a lot better than the last film I saw, Mary Riley, for
Oh
request.
God, that one. Ooh. Around the time when they were trying to get after Bram Stoker's Dracula was a huge hit. A lot of these other studios they were trying to get the next Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's where you had like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which I don't mind, but it does have its issues. Like I think Bram Stoker's Dracula is a better film. And then Mary Riley, which I think was also a Sony
Well, you
film.
had Wolf as well.
Wolf as well,
John Nicholson Wolf.
which I don't mind that one. It's too long.
Well, Mary Riley's easily the worst.
Yeah,
Easily.
with Julia Roberts
Boring as shit.
and John Malkovich. I heard it's like some boring take on Jekyll and Hyde. That's what I've been hearing. That's what I've heard a lot of times. I have the novelization. I think I don't even know if I finished reading it. I think I might have been like halfway through one time when I started reading it. I was like, this is boring.
It's
So
an
like
art
I didn't
house
even finish
take.
reading it.
It's pretty much an art house take on it. It's Julia Roberts with a bad Irish accent
Oh.
that sometimes disappears and sometimes does. Sometimes they miscasting. She
Hmm.
wasn't right for the role. Very, very uninteresting in terms of it's just a very slow pace art house flick where she's a chambermaid for Dr. Jekyll
Hmm.
as well as Mr. Hyde. And Mr. Hyde is pretty much John Malkovich with a different color hair, longer hair, looking younger. So
Huh.
there's nothing monstrous about it. Okay. Honestly, he looked like Tommy Wiseau. That's what it made me think. Like when he chased him, his right, he looked
I
like
did
Tommy
not.
Wiseau.
I did
That's what
not hit a no.
and honestly, at this time, he would have made a good Tommy Wiseau. Like he with the way he looked and his act, yeah, he could have done it if they did that
Tommy Wiseau's
movie
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That sounds like a better version of.
or maybe that. But yeah, it's trying to be a romance movie. It's little bits of horror, but it didn't work.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
hey, thank you, Joe. Yeah, I've seen it. I liked it for what it was,
I didn't mind it
the
either.
trailer. But Eddie Murphy also did Coming to America 2,
Yeah.
and that was
But, to
abysmal.
be fair, the trailer for Coming to America 2 didn't look that great either. So this was better. It's a better first impression. Um, but we'll see. I mean, Kevin
Yeah,
Bacon pretty much seems like he's just playing the same guy as he played in R.I.P.D. Like, if you really think about it, like, it's the same fucking
yeah,
character.
that's true. Yeah.
Um,
But
I don't see
so
really a
it
lot
was a
of
good way.
Bruckheimer, Tony Scott, or that's that kind of look. It looks more like a Bad Boys movie, which is fine. I think that can work all right in terms of the visual style.
I think it did what a teaser was supposed to do. It didn't give away the whole movie.
No,
It still makes me wonder what the plot is, all that stuff. Okay, it didn't have a lot of jokes, but it's just a teaser, so I'm fine
yeah,
with that. As long as you
yeah,
save, as long as there is good stuff in the
yeah,
movie.
yeah,
It's well edited. I like the way they use the music. For the most part, it looked practical,
yeah.
action wise. The helicopter bit,
And Eddie,
you
he
know,
seems like, and Eddie seems like he gives a shit, like he actually is trying. So there's that as
a little
well.
bit more.
A little bit more energy. Honestly, I think he has more energy here than he did in Beverly Hills Cop 3. Like, it just seems like there's just more of that, and
Well, the
especially that.
teaser itself, the teaser itself is better than the entire movie. Bill's Cop 3, honestly,
Yeah.
because you don't have him in a fucking elephant suit
Yeah.
walking around an amusement park cutting George Lucas off in line,
Uh-huh.
or drive
And
down his
yeah,
ride.
and yes, I know he's not gonna do the laugh. He's already explained this numerous times. He's not doing the laugh anymore. Like, I've been seeing a lot of comments like, "Where's his laugh? Like, why isn't he doing that laugh?" Because Eddie doesn't wanna do that anymore. Because people made fun of him for it, and I guess he started, he felt bad, and so he doesn't do that laugh.
Well, fuck them. Who gives a
Which
shit what they say?
exactly. I don't understand why, like, it's just the way he laughs. Like, it's it's honestly a part of the reason why it's so much fun to watch Eddie actually is like that infectious, just energetic laugh that he had.
Well, you should just do it anyway.
A remake of
But
Dreamscape. They did that already.
um,
It's called Inception. No, I'm just
which was, in my opinion, a better fucking movie than Dreamscape. I'm not big on Dreamscape,
and that's
so
cool. That's fine. I need to watch
that's my
Inception
opinion.
again. I think I'd like it more this time around.
I yeah, well, Dream. I mean, also, I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, if you want a guy
Yes.
who's a killer who's got
Yes.
claws coming out of his hands and a
Yes.
dream,
It's to the point where the writers of Dreamscape sued Wes Craven, I think.
I don't know how far they got with it. If
I
that's
don't
the
think they got
case,
that far, but I think they did they did
yeah.
they did file a lawsuit.
Like I said, just yeah, just go watch Inception, which I do like. So my favorite Nolan film. So yeah, I'll just go watch
With
Inception.
Nolan, um, I like Insomnia. I think that's an underrated one that he did. Kind of one of the more
Yeah, I didn't
overlooked
mind
films
it.
that he directed.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. I didn't mind Memento. Let's see. Look at the
Tenet
Tenet.
was, man, I
Wasn't big on it.
like I didn't hate Tenet. Didn't really get into it. It was just kind of there at best. Was it just me, or
That was pretty.
did the sound mix on that seem off? Like it was too loud at times to the point where you barely
A
understand
lot
the
of people,
dialogue. Yeah,
a lot of people mentioned the sound mix on it. It was weird. I don't remember the reason why.
yeah.
I don't know if it's the way he shot it or the way he wanted it. He had different intention of it being shown. I don't know the
I don't know. Like
details.
whatever it is, like even with a really good sound, high quality sound system, like it just sounds muddy. Like like I can't understand some of this dialogue, and then like the action is things are just too fucking loud to the point it's kind of obnoxious. But it was so
Mm.
it was there, I guess. I definitely liked Interstellar
Yeah.
more.
Mm. Sorry, just looking through the chat. Hate how they try to revive these sequels in TV shows 25, 30 years ago. Well, it's nostalgia. They're going to keep doing it.
The Fall Guy, I do admit though, I do want to see that. Like that's another one of those. Oh, let's revitalize some old property. But the Fall Guy, like there hasn't been a ton of remakes or reboots of that show already, so it still feels like it's something that is a little fresh, like not fresh right off the vine, so to speak. But it doesn't feel like it's like recycled from concentrate, that kind of thing. Because we've already done like the Charlie's Angels reboot that came out. Like you already had two Charlie's Angels movies, so like this is like what is the point of this? The film where Elizabeth Banks is like, if you don't like women, then or some nonsense about like you should see this movie unless you're sexist, whatever the fuck she was saying.
But I think she said this isn't meant for men, and then no
Yeah,
one saw it.
Yeah.
And then she said, "You're sensitive because you didn't see it." I'm like, "You
Yeah.
said it wasn't meant for me, so I didn't see your movie. Now you're
Yeah.
mad that I didn't see your movie. Make up your fucking mind."
It's the bros reaction too, because that's what happened when Bros came out, and the star that was like, "Oh well, it's not
Oh
for
yeah,
you," and then he did the same thing. Well, why didn't you go see it? It's like if you don't see it, then you're homophobic. I'm like, well, you
you said it
literally
wasn't for
said,
me.
yeah,
You said this movie ain't for you. I'm like, okay, then I'm staying home. Why you go see it? I said, you said it wasn't for me. Make up your fucking mind.
uh,
Jesus Christ.
talk about being confused.
And also imagine if you say that from the other end. Hey, if you're gay, you can't see this movie.
Uh
It's only for
huh.
straight people.
Hmm.
Or hey, women, you can't see this movie. It's only for the men.
Yeah.
Imagine if someone said that, they'd be fucking roasted. But if you say the other one, you're perfectly fucking fine.
Hmm.
But people don't see any issue with that. I don't understand that. But
Two
hey,
faced.
those films bomb for a reason, for
Yep.
a damn good reason. So there you go.
Yep.
Suckers. I don't give a fuck about the Crow remake.
Yeah, the one with fucking
Bill
was Skellen.
Slipcase, what was fucking
Oh yeah,
Skeleton. Skellington.
Skeleton.
Bill Skellington.
Jack Skellington.
Bill
Chris,
Skarsgård.
Chris, Chris Sarandon. No, Danny Elfman.
Give a fuck about it.
Yeah, it's gonna suck. Like I firmly believe that for many many years when the remake kept getting, well, I don't firmly believe. I just like to believe because it's funny that like the times that the remake kept getting canceled is because like Brandon Lee's ghost would show up or whatever and like fuck with the writer or the director and be like and haunt them for a couple days and then they would stop doing them. They would decide to leave the project and then that's why the movie never got made.
I have not seen it, but what's funny, you're probably the first person I've seen that enjoyed the film because everybody else has
Everybody
told me
says
how
it
the film
sucks.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're like the first person to say they like it because everybody else is like, this movie sucks. So
That
go
happens
figure.
sometimes, right, Matt? There's like a bunch of like, oh, this movie's garbage and it's awful, and then sometimes we see it and we're like, well, it wasn't that bad. But that, to
Hmm.
be honest, that doesn't happen often, so it's kind of a once in a blue moon thing.
Yeah, I think that people say it's like generic and there's not much action, and
Hmm.
so
That's not a good sign.
no, I haven't seen it.
I
Mike,
know
have
you
you
like the
seen Twin
trailer,
Peaks?
Twin Peaks.
Yeah, of course.
It's been a while, but yeah, I don't mind Twin Peaks. Like it's not for everyone. It's simply a weird, fucking bizarre ass show. That's for sure. Especially the return. I like the first two seasons more than the return myself, but especially the first season. The first
Mm.
season I think is really good. The second season is when the fucking network was like, David Lynch, you're too weird. Like, hey man, like this fucking too weird, too strange, too out there, too dark for network television. We can't keep doing this shit. And so I don't think Lynch really had the same passion for it. And I think at the same because the network was getting so involved with shit, he just decided to just fuck with the network more and just made it weirder and the
Mm.
twist and the explanation for who killed Laura Palmer and all this it was a mess. But it's interesting. So that's the thing like even like the worst aspects of Twin Peaks is still really interesting and intriguing because of just how creative it is. So definitely not for everybody. I could see how some people would like start watching the show and be like, this is fucking, this is just too weird even for me. You know, that kind of thing where it's like, I don't know about that.
Mm.
There's acquired taste for everything. 'Cause I know there's some people who like they love Pee Wee Herman to death. The character is like one of their favorites, and then there's other people where they're kind of like, I'm kind of in that boat to be perfect because I'm watching like the Pee Wee movies, and it's like I like a lot of the stuff that doesn't have to do with Pee Wee. I've noticed, like I like the direction by Tim Burton in the first film. I like the whole interactions with other people. I like the creativity. I like the imagination. There's a few moments with Paul Rubens' character that make me laugh, but like it's one of those things where like in smaller doses, it works better for me. I just, it's just
Mm.
the whole shtick is just kind of annoying. But that's just me personally.
Right. So we've been going on for about 2.5 hours, getting to be about 11 p.m. here.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'll probably call it a night.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me on
Thank
this
you. It's fun.
Wednesday night.
Fun.
In case I don't do a stream, because I don't know if I'll do another stream by the end of the year.
Mhm.
You guys have a safe New Year,
Yeah. Happy New Year.
and we will see you guys later.
Yep.
Ciao for now.
See ya.